Hey YouTube friends, today's video is all about making soap. So I recently started making soap and I use the Melt and Pour. I use the detergent-free goat milk soap that I purchased from Wholesale Supplies Plus. And then of course I melt it down, add my fragrance, any coloring that I want to add to it, and then finish it up from there. So absolutely love it. It has changed my skin. That's all we use in our home now. So that's a plus. But the downside of it is microwaving it in the pitchers is annoying. And here's why. So the soap has to be put into a pitcher like this, measured out. And if you're doing two different colors, then you have to have two different pitchers. And you have to melt it in about 30-second increments and then stir it. And it takes a long time, several rounds of melting, stirring, to get it to the right temperature, the right consistency, and ready to get the finished product rolling. So I have been extremely annoyed with that process. Not to mention, I don't have a microwave in my candle studio, which means I have to get all my materials together and take everything into the kitchen. And I don't really like to mix my candle making with that because it's in the way. I don't want to be in the kitchen with the candle stuff, with the soap stuff. That's not where I want to be. So the absolutely amazing people at ToAuto sent me this soap melter and I could not be happier. I am so excited. I am going to show you guys this melter today. Now, I do want to say really quickly that this is not my first time using it. I had every intention of showing you guys the very first use of it, but I have been down with bronchitis for like a week and a half, and I tried to record that video and it did not go very well. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to show you my second time working with it. That's fine, right? So we're going to jump right into it. If this is your first time on my channel, my name is Jessica and I'm the owner and operator of Round Town Candle Co. And soap is a nice thing to have in addition to the candles. Now, I am not the soap isn't my main piece. I do have a brick and mortar. I do have the soap in the store. I also sell it online, but that's not my main focus. However, it is nice to have it in there. A lot of people have tried it and like it, and kind of the more variety that you can offer, the better. And so I've been super, super happy with having the soap. So once I got this is the 12-liter Fast Melt soap melter. This has an on-off and the spout. If you've got a digiboil, it's real similar to that. The only difference is there's no thermostat on this. You don't set a temperature. It's either on and heating or on and maintaining temperature. So it's like heating or just keeping it warm. So a couple things that I did notice about that. First of all, when you get this, it's ready to go. It's put together. I opened it up, took the lid off, and cleaned everything out just with some rubbing alcohol because you obviously want it to be clean before you start with your soap. So I just gave it a good wipe down. My husband made this base for me, which is great. He's made them for me for my digis as well. It's just nice. It gives me the height that I need so I can set my pitcher underneath of it. So thank you, hubby. So anyways, I'm going to turn this on. And the book comes with it, and it's got on here a melting time reference chart, which is helpful. I will say everything is in kilograms, and I don't know that language. I measure my stuff in ounces and pounds, so I did the conversion. So according to this, for the 12-liter melter that I've got, if I use 4 pounds of soap base, it will heat in approximately 15 minutes. That's fast. If I've got 8 pounds of soap base, it's about 37 minutes, and you can go all the way up to 13 pounds is the max, and that heats in about 52 minutes. So I loaded it full the first time, and within an hour, it was definitely melted down. So the soap base that I use, again, is the goat milk detergent-free soap base, the Melt and Pour base from Wholesale Supplies Plus. Now, says on there, you melt it to between like 145, 155, probably 160, 145 to 160 range. Then you bring it down to 140 degrees. Once it hits 140, you're going to add your fragrance oil and any coloring you want to add to your soap. And then you will immediately pour it into your mold. One thing that concerned me on this is the temperature, because there's no way to regulate it. So what I found was when it was heating, let's back that up. It got to temperature and I checked it and it said it was 180 degrees. And I was concerned because if you get too hot, you can change the structure of your soap. It can change the smell of it. It can change the consistency of it. It can bring it into like almost a rubbery feel. It's just not meant to be blasted up in temperature. So that had me worried. Then when it went down into like the standby mode where it stopped heating and just let it rest, I gave it another stir, stuck my thermometer in there, and it had dropped down to 170. Still higher than the 155, 160 range that the soap manufacturers recommend as kind of the top temperature. So I am not going to lie, I was concerned about that. Now, never did it boil. It wasn't bubbling. It was just very melted. It was hot. So anyhow, I did everything as normal. For the first batch, I just did an unscented. No coloring, no scent added. I just wanted to see, because I thought, if this isn't going to come out right, I don't want to ruin a loaf of soap that's got color and fragrance and all that in there. So I thought, I'm just going to keep it, which I do sell an unscented, uncolored. I've got people that like the scented soap for their body, but want an unscented maybe for their face. Excuse me. So I thought I'll try that first just so I can make sure. So let me grab this here. I have these wrapped up. So this is the bar that I had done. It is unscented. It doesn't smell any kind of off-putting. It doesn't smell any kind of like burnt or strangeness to it. And it feels very normal as the soap. So I have actually cut a piece off of this and used it, because I also needed to make sure, is this going to lather correctly? Is this going to feel okay on my skin? Is this going to clean my skin as it should? And it did. There was nothing wrong with it. So, sorry guys, this is noisy. All right. So my thought process was, why would this company create a soap melter if it's going to burn the heck out of the soap and ruin it? So I wanted to make sure, because I thought, am I going to have to reach out to them and ask this question? Nothing happened to the soap. It was perfectly fine. So today I am going to pour some more soap, and this time I'm going to add my fragrance and my color and do that whole deal. So I'm going to make the real deal. But either the temperature, I don't know. I'm not sure what it is, but maybe the soap manufacturer gives you that 155, 160 range because that's really all the warmer it needs to be, but it doesn't necessarily hurt it to go over that if it's not a boiling mess. That's my only guess. Like I said, even when it was hot, 180 degrees, and when it was heated up, I never had any boiling. I never had anything that made me feel concerned about it. So we'll go with it. But you guys, this thing is amazing. I mean, first of all, it is so easy to use because, again, you just flip the switch on. And then the lid just twists. And so you just twist it and pop it off, and you can look down in there. Before I pour it or before I check the temperature, just give it a stir. Super easy. So yeah, I'm so very excited about this. So I just flipped it on. I'll keep track of the time. I will be back with you guys once it gets to temperature, and we will make some soap. So hang in there. I'll be right back. So now the light has gone to standby. So it's literally been about 25 minutes maybe. And so now I know that that means it's reached its top heating and is now kind of on the cool down side. So what I'm going to do is, by the way, this comes with a really cool, super long spoon. So I'm just going to twist the lid here. And you want to be careful because obviously this is very hot. There is steam and some moisture on the lid, just like, you know, cooking. So we're going to do this. And then I'm just going to reach in here and give this a stir. You do not ever want to add your fragrance or coloring to this pitcher. It's just like with candle making. All we're using this for is melting. You're going to actually do all of that other work once you get it into your pitcher. So we're going to check the temperature real quick. This is cruising up. Yeah, we're sitting right about 180, roughly. So again, it must be fine because my first batch came out good. No problems at all. So I'm going to lock that back into place. You just put it on there and slide it and it locks underneath here. So now I'm going to go ahead and measure this out. So I'm going to do two different, do I want to do two different colors or just one for this one? You know what? I'm just going to do one. I'm just going to do one. So I am going to do 3 pounds and 2 ounces of soap. All right, so I have my scale on. This is exactly what you would do if you were pouring candles. And we're going to open that up. And look how gorgeous that is. I mean, it's coming out so nice. There's no splatter. It's very smooth. So we're going to measure 3 pounds, 2 ounces. It's very hot. The thing I really like about this is the hole where it drains out is in the center. So it's not like it comes out the end here, if that makes sense. It drains out the bottom, so you really get to use all of it. All right, 3 pounds, 2 ounces. We're almost there. Okay, 3 pounds, 2 ounces, perfect. So now I'm going to put my thermometer in here. We'll see what it reads now. And then I will add my fragrance and everything once it gets to the recommended 140 degrees. So yeah, this is hot. This is measuring. This is going all the way up to 200 degrees, you guys. This is really hot. I'm going to turn it off because this is the only one I'm going to make today, so I don't need to leave it on. This is close to 210. So let me get this back up. Sorry. Oh gosh. All right, there we go. Okay, so this is measuring right about 210 degrees, which is hot, very hot. So now this melter says that it is good for melt and pour soaps. So, I mean, again, why would you make a soap melter if it's going to ruin all of your soap? So let's just look and see if it says anything in here about that. It really doesn't say anything about temperature at all. So let's take a look and see. The only thing I can think of that maybe I could try to do differently to bring that temperature down is keep a closer eye on it. And as soon as I notice it's starting to melt down, start stirring it and checking frequently and pouring a lot sooner. So maybe this isn't going to be like the Digi where you turn it on and you just can do other things and pour it when you're ready. So maybe that's what I'm going to do next time. I will just check this, turn it on, keep a close eye, and do that. But again, my first batch came out really good. And it was the same thing. So it had to have been 200, give or take, when I put it in there. So anyhow, We're going to finish this out. It's probably going to take forever and a day for it to cool down to 140, but once it does, I will be back and we'll finish this thing up. Okay, I'm making my way back around. All right, so we are ready to finish the soap. So it finally has cooled down. It took forever, not gonna lie. So I still need to check to make sure that this is not impacting the soap negatively. Like I said, the first batch was fine, so I just want to double check. All right, so sometimes when I'm doing the soap, I will do 2 separate containers. I'll leave one of them white and then the other one I'll color. And then when I pour them in, I kind of just mix them together to give it sort of a little swirl effect. But on this one, I decided I'm just going to do this a solid. So, and this is actually going to be my first time using this new mica powder. So we will try that out and see how it turns out. Now, let me say, first of all, when you're using mica powder with this melt and pour, this is a white colored soap. It's not that clear. So it's not going to be as bold of a color. So that is definitely something to be aware of if you are getting into coloring your soap. So I am going to be using Palo Santo and Sandalwood from Candle Science. So I need 2.5 ounces. I'm going to get that in here. And then for the coloring, I want to show you how I do this. So I learned the hard way that if you just pour the mica into your soap, it gets kind of lumpy, chunky. It's not like a good smooth. So what I do is I get just a little dish, like it's like a little dipping dish from the kitchen. And we are going to try with this mica. So they recommend 1/2 teaspoon per pound. And I'm going to go a little bit over that because, again, I'm using a white base soap. And so I know that it is going to be a lighter color. Excuse me, guys. I am still fighting this bronchitis. So the way to do this is you add some rubbing alcohol to your mica powder. And then you just stir it in that way. And that will help to prevent the lumps from forming into your soap where you just get these lumps of color that don't really dissolve or blend in. So I just put a little bit in, just enough to kind of smooth it out. And then we are going to, let me do this. We are going to dump this in and try this out. So let's kind of wipe that off. All right, so now we're going to bring this over and we're going to pour this mica in here. Another little trick is that you can take, because you can see it's still a lot in there, you can spray a little bit of that alcohol in there and kind of swirl it around and it'll pull that away from the dish. I just give it another little stir and we'll just roll that right in there. Now let's just check and see what this color looks like. This is gorgeous. Oh my gosh, this is beautiful. I like this. So this color is Supernova mica, and it's the Soap Science from Candle Science. So I've not used these before, but I'm really excited. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, this is the exact color that I was kind of aiming for. With that Palo Santo and Sandalwood, I wanted it to be kind of a coppery, bronzy, you know, sort of a look to it. So this is pretty nice. I like it. I hope that it doesn't dry as like a really pink looking color. I think it's going to be good. We'll give it a shot. All right, so this constant cough and throat irritation is crazy. It needs to go away. All right, so I usually just give a little spray on the bottom there. That is clean. And now I'm just going to pour my soap in here. Oh my gosh. Were you guys watching this? Were you guys screaming at the computer, at your phone, to add the fragrance oil to this? I hope you were. I heard you if you did. Thank you. I don't know what I was thinking there. I would have just made a beautiful colored soap that smelled like nothing. So there we go. Oh my gosh. Have you guys ever done anything like that before and actually poured where you forget to add your fragrance or you forget something? Oh my goodness. I haven't, but I've come close a couple times. That was probably the closest. So we're going to stir that in, get that all incorporated, and then just pour it in, and that's it. We'll walk away. Let it sit up for 24 hours or so. Then I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to test it to make sure that the smell is good, the texture is good. I want to make sure that this temperature is not going to cause any issues. It doesn't seem like it is. I didn't notice any off-putting smell, any difference in the consistency of it, just from, you know, pouring, stirring, doing the normal things. All right, so now we are just going to pour this in here. This is a really pretty color. I hope it stays this way. And it smells so daggone good. Beautiful. I love it. Oh, look at that. All the way to the top. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. There you go, guys. So yeah, like I said, I just want to double check with this ToAuto just to make triple sure that there's not going to be any issues when it comes to this heating up. As long as we are good on that, then I think we are just going to be good. Beautiful. All right, I'm going to let that do its thing. Once it is done, I will be back on here and I will show you guys the finished product. We'll slice it up, we'll test some out, and we'll see how it does. So until then, I'll see you guys very soon. All right, I'm back. New day. So my soap is ready to be cut. And oh my goodness, with this mica. So I am used to using, excuse me, like liquid coloring that is not quite this bold for putting it in a soap that's not clear. So this is quite bright. Let's see how it looks. So I am just gonna unmold this. Beautiful. Oh my gosh, this is gorgeous. Okay, let's see. This is really something. This is really nice. I like the color. So the top is a little darker. You can kind of see it's got a little variation, which I'm a fan of. And then the bottom has got like all this sparkle to it. Wow, that is really pretty. So we're gonna cut this and we're gonna see if the temperature of the melter has any negative impact on the final product. So I am just going to slide this over here on my cutter and start cutting some bars. So far, it does not appear that there are any differences as far as with the temperature of the soap being warmer. The smell is good. It smells just like it should. I don't notice anything about it visually or, you know, the way that I'm cutting it. Nothing standing out that seems to be any kind of a problem. So we're going to cut these bars and then we're going to go try this soap and see how it does. So I did reach out to ToAuto about this and I asked them, I said, look, my soap says that it shouldn't be heated above 160 degrees, but it's between 180 and 200, you know, is this normal? So I'm waiting to hear back from them, which obviously I will post that on here before I upload the video, so you guys will know. But I mean, I just need to know if this is going to be okay, because the last thing I want to do is ruin an entire pitcher of soap. This is cutting really nicely though. These bars are beautiful. It smells really good. And we're almost done here. Okay, perfect. So I have this little oddball size here. It's a little thinner. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut off just a small piece of it. Because I don't need the whole bar. We're just gonna take a small piece to the kitchen, to the bathroom, to one of the sinks. We're gonna go to a sink and we're actually gonna try out this soap together so that we can see if there's any impact from the temperature of the soap melter. It looks, smells, feels, everything I can tell is normal. So let's go check that out real quick. All right, sorry, cutting off my head a little bit there. I just want to make sure that you guys can see as I wash my hands with this soap. So once again, the soap in appearance looks normal. No issues as far as anything that I can see, any issues with it getting too hot in the melter. So the smell is really good. So now we're just gonna give it a shot. This is lathering so well. Look at this. I mean, the soap feels wonderful in my hand. It doesn't feel rubbery or strange. There's no off-putting smell to it. It smells just like I hoped it would smell. That is a nice bar of soap. Obviously, we get that great lather. I love goat milk soap so much. It's all we use now at home since I started making it. Okay. That was the test. Now we're gonna dry off and see what we've got. It's normal. My hands smell great, they feel great, they're soft. So yeah, the soap melter is the real deal, you guys. My guess is that the manufacturer recognizes that you don't need to melt it any higher than 155, 160, so that's probably why they say to stop at that point. But clearly going up to 180 to 200 in this melter has not had any negative impact at all on this soap. So fantastic. ToAuto, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for this melter. It has saved me so much time, so much frustration. I no longer have to drag everything into the kitchen, using the microwave and doing all that to make my soap. So thank you again. And you guys, scoop up your ToAuto melters. They're fantastic. I've got links below. If you want to check them out, I would definitely recommend it. If you are into soap making with the melt and pour, oh my gosh, what a time saver and how convenient, and it's perfect that it fits right next to my Digi. So, all right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have comments, questions, let me know. Definitely go check out ToAuto, check out these melters. They are worth every single penny, I promise. So, all right, until next time, I'll see you guys.